Hi guys, welcome back to Jano's Crown. Thank you so much for logging in. I don't take it for granted. Okay guys, and if you are new here, this is your first time, guess what? You've made the right decision to stop by. Okay? And for you to ensure that every time I upload a new video, you're going to be notified, remember to click the subscribe button. Okay? Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to be notified every time I do a new video, ring that bell. Okay? Otherwise, just ensure you've subscribed to my channel, and please share my channel with your friends within your network so that they can also get the good news. Okay? Otherwise, without wasting any of our precious time, let us head to today's video, guys. Yes. So, in today's video, guys, if there is one thing that let me say, like personally, I reached a time and I started struggling with was just like to remember things. Okay, maybe we could have a conversation with, let me say, my colleague, for example. We could have a conversation, be it at home with my family members or back in the office, for example, with my colleagues, my supervisor, for example. And remembering these things was not that easy. As in, I could have a discussion. We discuss about something, be it on the phone conversation, be it just this face on face, let me say, physical conversation, like we are seated in a room, for example, we're just chatting about something, and then we agree on the way forward. So I could be this kind of a person whereby I could do everything in my head. So I tell myself, oh, we agreed to do ABCD with so and so, and we agreed to revisit this issue, for example, after 2 weeks, for example, let me say, or maybe after a month, or maybe there is just like a follow-up that you are supposed to do. Then you see, now I'm doing it in my head, and then it passes like that. When it comes a time when maybe now for a follow-up, be it at home, maybe I wanted something, then I just ask, then I'm told, but you said you're going to come with it. I'm like, okay, I can't remember. Or if it is in the office, for example, like there was maybe something I was supposed to do, just now it's time for me, something I was supposed to do, and it is time for me to give feedback, then I'm like, okay. The time I'm being asked for a feedback, that is when I just remember. So to cut the long story short, it is just like, how do you just ensure you're on your toes when it comes to issues following up, for example, be it back at home, like if you're a career mom, just like myself, and you want to have that balance between your personal, let me say, you want to have balance between your home and your office. You just want to ensure that, for example, you are following up on something, and it becomes a bit tricky when you have a lot of follow-ups to make. It becomes tricky when it is just like, as a person alone, you have to do all these things. So I thought of a way I could just like maneuver around it and just ensure that I'm on top of my game. And there are just a few things that personally I ensure. First of all, I always have a notebook with me, be it a small one. Yeah, I have somewhere. I have a notebook with me. It has sticky notes, things that I just have to ensure. Maybe we are talking about something and I just want to jot there. I want to write just things to remind me. I have my notebook with me. I have my pen, so that every time we discuss something, or maybe we are talking on phone, at least I have to write down just to ensure that I don't forget. So what is the trick? What do you do just to ensure that you stick on your game? Always ensure you note down. Always ensure, if you have a conversation with somebody and there is something that needs to be followed up, ensure you have a notebook, for example, a small notebook. Have sticky notes, for example, small ones like these ones that you just use to write down things that need to be done, things that have to be followed up. Okay, you write them down, And as you are writing them down, it will help you to, to remember it in your head. Yes, it will just give you that reminder that, oh, I wrote something somewhere that was supposed to be done. And you see, when you write something somewhere, one of the things that I've learned since childhood is when I write something down, I will never forget it. It may take time, but once it is down, it is written down. Believe you me, you will not forget it. So always ensure you have a notebook with you, a piece, something that you're not going to throw away. Okay, get a small, even if it is a small book that you'll just use for your work. Yes, have that small book, and always have a pen with you. Regardless of where you're going, have a pen with you, so that every time you talk to somebody, there is something you're just supposed to follow up. You write in that notebook of yours, okay? And such that when you go back, settle down, and you just have to revisit, you have something you've written down, at least at the back of your mind, you are going to remember, okay? And once you remember that, you will be able now to action as directed, okay? So the process is write it down. You are talking to somebody on phone, they need a follow-up on something, write it down, okay? Once you've written it down, you will be able to revisit and review and understand that this is supposed to be done, and you'll be able now to give feedback. Be it in school you are learning, be it in college you are learning, write things down. Don't be this kind of a person you're like, I will remember, in my mind I'm going to remember. You can't. It reaches a time whereby your mind carries a lot, you have a lot to forget. So the trick that I used personally was, I have to walk around with a notebook, a pen, okay? I write down so that I'm able to follow up, okay? The second thing is, always put information in, can I say, you chunk things. You put things in like groups, for example, okay? Let me say, for example, it is, can I use a specific example? Maybe if you're in school, if you're in college, for example, you're just doing your classes. You see, for you to be able to remember like an entire course that you have learned in a specific semester, break that information down. That is why we are given a syllabus. With a syllabus, you'll be able now to know chapter 1 we are doing ABCD, number 2, number 3, number 4. So as you read, you're going to like arrange your mind in small bits. These are small chunks that you're going to arrange the information, okay? Once you do that, you will remember the information in bits, and as a result, you will be able to remember everything if it is in a given subject. If it is at home, you will write things down, so that when you sit down and you start visualizing your home, something that has to be done, you will remember, I had something in the kitchen that had to be replaced, I had something in the sitting room that needs to be done, I had something. You see, you are able, you put information in small bits. You say you chunk things, you put them in groups, okay? Once you put them in groups, now when you remember as a whole, you'll be able to understand. You go back now to the office, you have things that have to be done. Definitely these things you are going to arrange them in group. Maybe you tell yourself, like, on Monday I had this information, I had this from my supervisor that had to be done, I had this from colleague A that had to be done, I had this from colleague B. Even you can categorize them, for example, in departments. I had this from colleague A from this department that wanted me to assist with ABCD. I had this from colleague B from this particular department that wanted me to assist with ABCD. I had this on my desk that needed to be done. I had this from a client that need to be responded to. So you see, the result is you are arranging information in groups, okay? So when you sit down as a person, you are able to recall, in a particular day, I remember I have things to be done in the office. In the office, I have colleague A from this department, colleague B, colleague C. Back at home, I remember I'm supposed to do ABCD. And I remember, back in my kitchen, I have ABCD. Back in my sitting room, oh, my kids' school, I have ABCD that I have to follow up. Then, as a person, also, you remember, I remember I had a doctor's appointment that I had to attend to. So, this is what I'm going to do. And in a particular day, believe you me, you are going to be able to, as you chunk that information, as you group the information, you will come to a you will come to acknowledge, you will come to appreciate that it will be easy for you to remember because you have grouped things. You've put them in groups, okay? And as you put them in groups, you are coming to compile them as a whole. As a whole, that means in a particular day, you know, I have these things that have to be done. And remember, you are writing them down. That is rule number one. You are writing them down. Okay? You are going to remember them. You are going to review them such that when you come now to part B, you are going to put them in groups and you work on them. You work on them, you remember them based on the groups that you have arranged. Okay? And then the third part that will help you as a person to remember things is learn to use images. Learn to use small, let me say, can I say short videos? This one helps you to understand concepts. I remember back in school, back in college, for example, if a lecturer is teaching you something, they could give you the theoretical part of it, but they could still go ahead, like draw on the blackboard what they are talking about. If it is, for example, a diagram, they will try to explain to you using that diagram. So in your daily life also, for you to be able to remember things, you have to like put images on what you are talking about. Learn to even I remember I had a boss who could, when you go to talk to him, he used to draw things on the paper. I remember he used to like that a lot. I don't understand. I didn't understand why he used to do that. But every time you could tell him something, you could see him drawing, for example, like things on a paper. You are talking to him, he's listening, but he's drawing. So so what do I mean? Use images to like explain things that you are talking about. Use images to remember things that you are talking about. For example, if I wanted to buy a book, for me to remember, I have a book with me, I have an image. Even I have to walk like an image. When I save on my diary, I have to write book and then I pick that image. It will help me to remember there is a book somewhere that has to be bought. When you look at diagrams, when you look at images, you look at photos, it helps you remember things a lot. It is much easier for you to remember things in image form than when they are written. Okay? Sometimes words just put people off. Images will help you remember a lot. Even when you sit down as a person and you just start going through your notebook, when you see those images you are drawing, sometimes I can just draw a square. But this square will help me to remember there was something, a conversation that we were having. That is why I was drawing this square. And as such, I'll be able to remember everything that I'm supposed to do and be able to deliver. Okay? So always learn to use bright colors, for example. Use images, use short videos. They will be able to help you to remember things very, very easy. For you to remember things, always relate them to things that you understand. Relate things to what is within your environment. Okay? Use things within your vicinity. Use things within your environment to explain. It will be much easier. You relate to it. Okay? Explain using things you can relate to. That way, it will be much easier for you to remember. Even when you are planning your day, at least you are like, oh, I want to do A, B, C, D. I want to, yeah. If it is singing, for example, sing songs you can relate to. Like when I sing a certain song, it reminds me of A, B, C, D. So do things that you can relate to. It will be very much easier for you to remember things compared to you want to imagine things that are non-existent. Okay? I cannot talk about an area I've never gone to. Okay? I talk about things that are within my reach. Things are within my environment. It is going to be much, much easier for me to remember compared to things that are non-existent. Okay? For you to remember things, always get enough sleep. Sometimes you can't remember things. Sometimes your mind, when you sleep, your mind relaxes. Okay? And when it relaxes, the things you have learned, the things you've written down, the things you have planned within the day, the things you've related to your environment, you are able to now you relax and it goes to your minds such that now when you wake up fresh, you are able to remember I was supposed to do A, B, C, D. Okay, so in all this, always you try as much as possible to get enough sleep. They will always say, the doctor will say sleep 6 to 7 hours. But you see, if you're a mom, yes, that is a special case. If you're a mom, you will try, yes, but you cannot clock that 6 or 7 hours, but at least you will get enough rest. So in all this, all said and done, rest is the most important thing. Sleep, have enough sleep. Sometimes you find out that you forget things so much because you've not had enough rest. You are just tired, tired, tired. Okay, so as much as possible, ensure you get enough rest. This will assist you to be able, when now you've read, for example, you are in class, you've written everything, you've gone through, you've practiced, you've related to your environment, everything that you have said. But if you don't have enough rest, our brains need to relax. Just like the way you say, oh, my muscles are aching, I need to relax. Yes, your minds also need to relax. Okay, so take enough rest in everything that you do so that you are able to remember. Otherwise, you are going to forget things very much easily simply because you've not taken enough rest. Okay? So that was such a beautiful video. I hope you have learned one or two things. Okay? And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do hit the like button after watching the video. Click on the subscribe button. Okay? And if you want to be notified every time I do a new video, click on the bell. If not, like and subscribe, and that is enough for me. Okay? Otherwise, until our next video, in everything that you do, what do we say on this channel, guys? Blessings!